Serious talk here. Serious talk. I'm putting my name on the line here. The A28 by Rovyvon is probably the best everyday carry flashlight currently on the market. I'm just going to say it right here. I'm going to start out with that, and then I'm going to work backwards. Kind of setting myself up for failure, but I don't care. We're going to make it happen. That's just the way I feel, and I hope after you see this video that you will agree with me, or at least you will entertain the idea that it's worth checking this flashlight out because it is actually that good. Holy man, did I set myself up for a tough review now? Yeah, but I'm standing by the fact. I'm just gonna spoil it for you. This is one of the best everyday carry flashlights you could possibly imagine. It has every functionality you could possibly want for everyday carry. It's not a tactical flashlight. It's a very, very good tool. And so I hope you will watch this all the way through because there's a lot of things to talk about and I don't want you to miss it. So, first of all, I got the variation that is with a Nietzsche LED at 750 lumens. Now, you would think that being only 100 lumens higher than the Rovyvon A5X, that wouldn't be much of an improvement. But it turns out that lumens are probably not the most important statistic. How that beam is focused, how the LED interacts with all the features of it, it really makes a big difference. There is a substantial visual difference between the 650 white light that you get with the A5X and the beautiful neutral white with the high CRI that you get from this particular variation. So just like the A5X, it has that quick access to turbo with just a hold and press. But it's a beautiful, like warm, neutral light. And I want to just focus for just a second on this incredible optic that they have going with this. And I think that's a large reason why I am just blown away by this light. When I compared it to other flashlights at a much higher power level, the S2R2 at 1150, the S1 by Astrolux, which has 1600, the BLF A6, which is supposed to be rated at 1300. What I found is that this was as bright as the 1150 S2R2, except that the S2R2 has a wider beam range. So the same brightness at that same area that it focuses on, yet it doesn't go as wide, which actually in some ways makes this a little bit better for what I like to use it for, in that it won't disturb as much when I'm using it, and it's just more focused, but still as bright in that small space. So technically different lumen count, but functionally very similar. Really impressive. Really, really impressive. So let's continue to go through the modes. So hold, press for turbo, let go. You have on the outside here a really, really good button. Because it is recessed, it is very difficult to press the button by accident. That is huge, which means you don't need the lockout mode. You don't need the lockout because of that recess button. And that is a great, great thing. But yet it's not hard to press. It doesn't get stuck. I haven't had any issues with sticking. So that has been very good. Now, double click gets you into the normal modes, the same as the Rovyvon A5. And you can then leave it in a single mode for 3 minutes or more, and it will stay in there. That is the memory mode. You can press and just press once to get through the different modes. I actually like the lowest mode to come in on, especially because I have quick access to the turbo. So we have this beautiful beam, as you can see, really, really good CRI. So the front beam, fantastic. Now let's talk a little bit about size. To give you a quick comparison, that is an 18650 battery, and this is only ever so slightly bigger. Now, that is a very small flashlight. It's not as small as the S1R2, but in my opinion, this has better features for everyday carry. I actually prefer the added length. I think it's a lot easier to hold. When I had the S1R2, I ended up dropping it a couple of times. It's not a very enjoyable light to hold. This one is a little bit easier, and I enjoy it a little bit more. On top of that, there's a lot more features built into this, as well as optics and light quality that I actually prefer. This is very, very high end, yet is about the same price as the S1R2. Now, we have that. We turn that off. Now let's go on to the side lights. There are two LEDs on the side of the A28. This does not have a luminous outer body, but, and as I will show later, there is still some luminous features in this, so we'll get to that in just a second. So once again, triple click gets to the side light in white. This is another Nietzsche LED. Okay, now it starts out a little low, and I believe this is 17 lumens. Now it's not super bright, but I actually like that. If you're going to have a reading light, or you're going to set this somewhere and you're going to do some work and you don't want to have blast your vision away, that's appreciated. Now if I click one more time, I get a higher lumen mode. This is about I think they said 37 on the box, and it just seems to project in such a nice way. You really get great illumination. So you have a piece of paper here, and it'll illuminate that quite well. So when you're working, you can go ahead and light up what you're doing. Okay, really, really well done. Here, it also will work like this if you're on your collar. If you have a button down, you can go sideways into the button down shirt. All of that is great. Now, next thing, let's turn that off by holding it down. Now, if I quadruple press this, I get access to the UV light. This is a UVA, not a UVC light. In other words, this is the one that will not damage. It's just used for detecting, well, bodily fluids, and also for checking currency. And you can see it lights up this white piece of paper really, really well. Okay. Now, you also notice this. You see how there's actually a section holding the battery inside that is being illuminated here. So when I turn this off, it's still glowing. Not very, very bright, but it is certainly doing so. So there is sort of a pseudo-luminous body in here. It's that little plastic section that's holding the motherboard and the battery together. So really, really well done. Now, this is micro USB. That is something that I do hope they will upgrade, and based on other their newer flashlights, I think they may very well do that. But once you upgrade this, I don't think it needs much of anything else to be excellent. Now, what else do we have going on here? First of all, let's talk price for a second. How would you figure a flashlight this small, this compact, with all these many features, as well as the high CRI emitter would cost? I mean, in my opinion, this would be closely $60 or $70, but it's really not. It actually comes in about just under 50. And in the case of when I purchased this, which was, I think, a Black Friday sale, it was sub 40. Okay, which is crazy for a light like this. Absolutely insane. It's IP68 waterproof rating, which is what I'm hoping they will change the Aurora series to. I am just so happy that its waterproof rating is much higher. That would have killed it for me personally. Like, I don't like having to worry about my flashlights. So once the Aurora series gets up to this, we'll have a new talk about which is the best EDC flashlight, and it's going to be a much harder discussion. But as of right now, this is the one that I call my favorite by a long shot. And I want to illustrate, because I thought at first that you needed to have a double-sided clip to get access, but because I wear my Wazoo cap everywhere, I have a small little slot that lets me hook this up to my hat in a perfect way. So that's not a feature that I particularly care about, although I think that it still might be something for somebody else. Yeah, I mean, there's not much more to say about this light, from the price, from the weight, from the size, from the features, the optics. It's everything. It's got it all. It's got it all. And if you want the even brighter version, there's a 1,000 lumen version. But I don't really agree with that. I think for an everyday carry flashlight like this, I actually prefer the Nietzsche. Now, if you get the higher lumen count, like maybe in a solid body, which they do have other ones that have solid bodies, that may make sense. It's still not a tactical flashlight, and it needs to be of a certain length and a certain size, really, to be considered one. So just keep that in mind. So if you're going to purchase this, keeping in mind that it's for everyday carry, you might want to. I suggest you try the higher um, light quality emitter. I think it will make a big difference. I think the actual lumen numbers are they're a distraction from the reality, because when you have good optics like this has, it makes a big difference. There's a reason why, even though other flashlights may have the same quote unquote lumens as an Olight or a Rovyvon, they don't present nearly as well when you actually use them. And they don't because they don't have the quality optics that these lights have. And these lights, like the Olight or this one, they have built-in part of their UI to step down automatically to keep the flashlight in good shape. There's a lot of high-end features built into this light, and all of the A25 or whatever it happens to be variation. For my money, the A28 though, it's got to be the best one. The side lights are phenomenal. The A25 has a luminous body, but it doesn't have this nice clear section to let you get the full brightness from the white LED. And I think because of that, the A28 takes the cake on this one. There really isn't any other flashlight in this caliber. There isn't, as of right now. Now that may change over time, but for me, I would rather have this one than the S1R baton, that series. And the only thing that light has on this one is the double-sided clip. And I think what I'm realizing is it's less important than I originally discovered when you have side lights like this. There's a good chance you could argue that the other variations that are solid body are worse than the A1R from Olight, and maybe that's a reasonable comparison. But when it comes to the side light versions, these are absolutely incredible, and the A28 has got to be the best of the bunch, in my opinion. So there it is. That's my spiel. I know it was long. I hope you stuck around for it. If this is something you appreciate, you want me to do more reviews like this, please like and subscribe, and you guys have a good day.